Basically, rather than saying ransomware, which raises eyebrows of different team, they if they don't understand the terms, it's very good to say that there has been an unauthorized encryption to your files without your knowledge. Now, the attack frequency in 2016 was something like it was like at every 40 seconds there's a ransomware attack. Okay. Now in 2021, it was seen that an every 11 second kind of there's a ransomware attack, and the same trend is kind of following it up right now. So, like myself, being at the start of career part of the SOC team, I have kind of personally seen that the company used to receive huge lot of, like, basically, let's say starting around 2018 or something. Um, 18 or something, the ransomware attack were kind of quite used. Like there were like multiple alerts coming up for the employees that their files has been encrypted, the backup database has been encrypted, and the company used to pay millions and millions of rupees to the attacker. That even now, to kind of just to kind of get the key by which they can kind of decrypt the files. Okay, so the trend has been really worrisome right now, and with the level of sophistication and machine learning thing and other stuff, it has been kind of really worse. So what are the cyber attacks by industry? Let's say what kind of industries are facing cyber attacks right now. So the most and foremost industry that faces cyber attack is obviously the banks and financial institution. So banks and financial institution normally contain credit card information of any of the customer, the bank account information, personal data of the client of the bank, and also the customer. So this is a gold mine actually for the attacker. So if they are able to kind of hack in any of the system or get an unauthorized access to any of the system, um, so of a bank, they will be kind of having a gold mine access. So they can kind of steal all the credit card information, let's say their CVV codes, their PIN, all the bank account information, and even the PII details. PII details, I mean the personally identifiable information of the customer or their client. So using that, they can kind of uh, siphon a millions and millions of rupees and bring huge loss to the country. Okay, so this is one of the core team which is of always kind of targeted by the attacker. Okay, now the next thing is healthcare institution. So you might think of like why healthcare, what's the need, or why attacker kind of will have an intention to kind of target a healthcare like hospitals and all. So there are multiple reasons for that, attacker, if they got hold of the system of healthcare, they can kind of steal the health records of the patients, and they can then, once they got the details, they can kind of initiate multiple level of social engineering attacks on the patient. They can get their billing information, like what credit card a person uses, their insurance claims, their health data, which is basically called as PHI. Uh, I guess the full form is personally identifiable health information. Okay, and even like let's say the research data. Let's say the healthcare is working on developing some vaccines. So the other country attacker can kind of steal those techniques, and they can kind of make their own vaccines in similar fashion, and they can bring huge loss to the healthcare organization doing research on that. So this is again a core, one of the core field, core institution where attackers actually kind of attacks right now. Then again, it's like corporation like us, where the attacker basically attacks. They try to kind of get unauthorized access to the systems of corporates to kind of steal the intellectual properties, steal the data of the clients and all, and higher education like colleges and all. Basically, colleges, what I have personally seen is that they basically colleges have few server which are like quite heavy, like they have multiple CPUs or GPUs in them that handles the whole organization of the college. So once the attacker get a hold of that, what they do is like they run their Bitcoin mining software on that, and they make money out of that. Okay, so in visual, this is how the attack look like. So there are different kind of attack groups, different kind of attack vectors, like let's say DDoS, which is denial of service. So I'll be kind of discussing about that in more detail. Stealing the assets, and then there are card schemers, and if you see, like, there are a lot of organization right now where attacker are kind of attacking. Like let's say DDoS, so the attack is mostly on education or financial. So I have been working on an incident where there was a kind of a US based university which was actually facing DDoS attack. Uh, DDoS attack, and DDoS attack, what it actually does is, like, a normal user can't access any services of that college, like they can't access the website and all, because attacker is kind of doing some activity on the network which is on the university network, by which no other customer of the college were able to kind of access the services, the online services of that university. So there are multiple kind of similar attacks going on for different kind of organization, and every field there is different objective of the attacker, why they want to kind of attack them. Okay, now, breach discovery. This is very, very important. So, what's happening right now is that whenever there is a breach, and breach is basically, what it tells is that the unauthorized access to the systems of any kind of organization. Let's say, for example, SecuCybers, or any, let's say, Google. So that's so any unauthorized access to any of the corporate systems or organization is called a breach. And what happened is that the more an organization takes a time to detect the breach, the more loss they incur. So if the organization is able to detect the breach, let's say in just next 10 seconds, or let's say just 1 minute of the breach that happened. So thing is that if the company can kind of secure themselves, and there will be really less loss to the company. There will be, let's say, for an example, the loss to their intellectual data, the loss to the customers detail that they are handling, and the time they took to detect the breach, let's say if they take, in most of the cases, what happens, the organization take more than 30 days to just detect a breach. um, uh, and detecting a breach is one story. You need to investigate and then analyze, understand what's the impact to the company of that breach. So that again takes time. But just detecting the breach, normally, the trend is that it takes on an average of about around 197 days just to kind of detect the breach. And in most of the cases, what happens if the company doesn't have a full-fledged SOC team, uh, they take, like, as I said, more than 190 days just to detect a breach. And by that time, the company is totally owned. And there has been, like, multiple cases where the SOC team was not properly uh, set up, which led to no breach discovery by the company, and it incurred so much heavy loss to the company that the company was closed. So implementing a SOC team, a really strong SOC team in the organization, is something which is really important nowadays for the company. Okay, so this is what's kind of a trend of right now of the breach discovery. Now, but the thing is that this data is kind of improving right now. The more and more companies are training their SOC team on latest attacks and latest architectures, and and making their SOC team more funded. The breach discovery is kind of decreasing in most of the company. Most of the high end companies actually detects the breach in, maybe, let's say, just 1 hour or 2 hour, and they are able to kind of contain the impact of the attacker. Okay. Now, going forward, again, the trend of the information security spending is that now the leadership of every company have realized actually how important it is for them to kind of keep this company secure. And going forward, the focus of the leadership has also been to kind of keep their SOC team really good funded. And funded, I means providing training to the employees, purchasing as much as possible the best tools right now in the market to automate the work of the SOC team, so that trend is now being seen. The leadership